How is everybody today? Any relatively brand new people here? Haven't seen what I'm doing here before? Okay, well, I'm going to start off and take you guys on a little environmental tour at the same time, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of old information, a little bit of new information. And I want to start out by saying that my background is, I've got an engineering background, I've got an extensive electrical background, and the reason being, electrical theory temperature pertains to everything in existence, and that is heat transfer at molecular levels, one electron at a time. So I spent 10 years putting together this education, and this is 17 or 18 years of targeted information to bring it forward to you guys and have the opinion I have. For the new people that are here, usually what my job is I'm giving people a lot of problems because their products aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Because when you can see beyond your visible spectrum and see how things are functioning, it's a pretty incredible and unique opinion to have. And I set out to look at Nikken products and quite frankly just expect to find a bunch of nonsense. Another company trying to exploit commercial opportunities, and you guys are the only company in the world that truly kicked my butt. So I'm going to take you guys on an environmental tour. You can see the images on the screen here. Now these are accurate temperature images. In the top image up here, this is a temperature image of a building. Underneath that you can see what our visible spectrum sees. Now all professionals that are working with temperature, we can't see it until it's glowing hot. And what we wanted to do is bring professionals the information that they could actually see the function of products beyond our visible spectrum. And the reason I show this image lots here is because this is my house. And that dark space you see here, now with that image here, you've got a temperature image and a temperature scale beside it. The brighter colors are warmer, the darker colors are cooler. And what you can see in between those two pictures there is that's missing insulation. And it doesn't seem like a big deal. And this is something when I talk about buildings, everybody goes, what's that got to do with health issues? This has got to do with when you're missing insulation, we're talking about more emissions, more mercury in the air, more health-associated problems, more asthma. So municipalities, what they do is, with all the best intentions in the world, everybody signs off buildings as compliant because they can't see how they're functioning. The people that, especially brand new people here, this is what brought me to you guys. You can see the top image here. I was doing a building inspection, and a Nikken consultant came to the door, and when the guy came to the door and said, "Ma'am, I've got this product here that's going to help with your ankle," I just rolled my eyes and looked the other way and said, "I'll just stay out of this to be polite," until she said, "Would you be able to see the differences?" So what I did is I said, I'd be able to see the differences, but what I want to do is I want to do this objectively. I'm not going to tell you, not going to tell him. I want to see what's going on, because applying a magnetic influence to a body has very serious implications. It really does. You're increasing circulation. You're creating microcurrents in people. So to do this properly is really an incredible science. So I really set after you guys with a vengeance, because I don't think it's done responsibly. The idea that somebody does that responsibly was beyond me as a professional, because usually what I find is an inferior product at an inflated price. So when this young lady was sitting in front of me here, and I perched on top of her so I make sure there's no other influence on her body. And you can see in the top image, lots of people are asking me about what's good red heat and what's bad heat related to this imaging. If you look at the top image there where the arrow is, that's an inflammatory response because of her ankle injury. So, and this is, I'm going to just go very generic here because I'm not qualified to say this, but if this is an acidic state for her body in that area because of the injury, she said, "Can you see it?" That's bad heat, that inflammatory response. You see on her toes there that they're darker in color. That's poor circulation in her toes. And you can see that her feet aren't uniform, and what medical professionals are expecting is to see relative uniformity between the sides of your body. So the middle image there is after 35 minutes with your mag steps. And that bottom image there is your mag steps after 4 hours. And when I finish this, and this is something important too, because you guys hear about competitors out there with 10,000 Gauss beds, these big beds. These guys might be creating more current and more issues with bodies than they know. Your design, the low Gauss, the uniformity of the product, the uniformity of the design all the way through there is such superior engineering and more natural to the body. one of the biggest things is in that bottom image, you can actually see that, do you see her ankle inflammation anymore? It's gone. Do you see all her toes? And the important thing for me is that her temperature wasn't elevated higher than normal body temperature. So that spoke about the design of the magnetics to me. I contacted healthcare professionals and of course my eternal skepticism and said, do you have something that can localize an area and increase circulation with zero side effects? They said, there isn't anything. I said, what if you could? They said, it's literally limitless. Your circulatory system feeds and cleanses every part of your body. Oh, there we go. Your circulatory system feeds and cleanses every part of your body, every cell in your body. And from an engineering point of view, if you can function at an optimum, a disease isn't going to have a chance to get a hold of you. And that's why when people have come forward to me and said, would you talk about nutritional products? And I said, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not qualified. And they said, but you talk about Nikken's products. And I said, that magnetic influence is critical in creating that optimum environment for your body to function. And then to feed it and hydrate it properly, and what you guys practice in your 5 pillars is just going to change the way things are done in the world. Somebody local from a diabetes center in my neighborhood came to me and said, Curtis, do you do any private imaging? I said, yes. He said, my wife's got leg problems, the doctors can't see it. They've said, you're fine, we can't see anything, we've done x-rays, we've done an MRI. So I said, you know what, we can see your function, can you help us? So if you look at that left-hand side, do you see that inflammatory response in her right leg? We saw with this technology, we saw that in 1 minute. And to give this information to her doctor. The thing that, you want to talk about hypocrisy, here I am, because her husband, I had just done a presentation for their diabetic association with a Nikken consultant. So when I was there, I said to her, I just laughed because here I went after you guys. It's so hard to prove bad things or expecting to find bad things. I said, where are your mag steps? I said, didn't you get some mag steps? And she said, yes, but they hurt my feet. And I started to laugh, and I spent 2 hours talking about magnetism, talking about your products. While we were there at the very end, I said, I want to try something. I want to show you something. You see the after image here on the right-hand side? The image on the right-hand side, you can see a bigger reduction in that inflammation. That's after 17 minutes on your mag steps. You guys think about this, and this is one thing that I was just asking a doctor about. Is an inflammatory response an acidic state and not healthy for your body? Yes. You think of that reduction with a product with zero side effects that last as long as they do in such a responsible design, and you know what? There's nothing in the world, in my opinion, that can do that. And you guys are such a compliment to traditional healthcare, and I wasn't saying that too long ago, was I? I want to talk about animals too, because we're working with veterinarians in our area here. This is going to be an exciting story for you guys. We're working with veterinarians because the veterinarians, same thing, limited by their visible spectrum. Can't see what's going on. So the vet said, she's a Nikken consultant. She said, will you come and take a look at animals? We've got problems with the animals. They can't see what's going on. Would you look at it? And before and after we apply a magnetic influence. I said, again, be prepared. If you're not doing your job right, I'm going to be there to remind you of it and show you that you're not doing it right. I said, I don't want any magnetics applied where you're touching the animal. No friction issues. On the left-hand side, you can see a horse there that's how that little horse is functioning. They just said he was having some arthritic issues, wasn't functioning the way they wanted him to. So what they did is they used your palm mag on both sides of the animal. You see on the right-hand side at the bottom, see those tape marks? That's what they do is they take a pail of oats and take the horse's head and draw it around to see his mobility, put a piece of tape there. That's how much more mobility the horse had after the use of the palm mag. And I was actually invited on a conference call where this vet was talking to a lady in Ireland. And for me to listen to this lady in Ireland, I said, what do you do? She said, we raise, train, and breed Olympic jumping horses. And she said when the Nikken consultant came to her door, she said the only reason she let him in is because the guy drove for about 5 or 6 hours. So she said, I'm going to politely listen to him and then kick him out. To have this woman say that they were using your palm mag during the Olympics, The medal-winning animals, can you imagine this? These things relaxing these animals. They were using your palm mag between jumps on Olympic animals, Olympic quality animals for their performance. Is just absolutely incredible. And this lady said, an accelerated healing process. They performed better. With animals that were really high strung, they applied your products to them, they immediately settled down. And that's something that's coming forward in an audio for you guys as well through some vet information. This is an interesting one because this was just done this weekend. See on the left-hand side there, see that guy's middle finger in his right hand? That's a fracture that was just short of a compound fracture on a doctor. So this guy said his finger's swollen, it's causing him all kinds of problems. Somebody had given him a magnet and he said, I tried the magnet, it didn't work. So what he was doing is taking a magnet and putting it on top of his finger. So what we did is put the wrist wrap on him, like you can see on the right-hand side there. Look at the difference in his physiology, the reduction in the inflammation in the finger after 2 hours and 45 minutes with your wrist wrap. And that is incredible. 0 side effects, no pills. Body Energizer. We were sent a Body Energizer and I wanted to see the effects of that, looked forward to it. Here's the change in physiology after a short period of time on that Body Energizer for a treatment. I saw changes as quick as 8 minutes on people. And you got to remember something. This stuff is increasing your circulation. There's nothing that can do that. You guys can't say that. This one here is interesting because this woman had a horse step on her back. Now some of you guys have seen this before. The horse stepped on her back. You can see on the left-hand side how cold her feet is. Where the horse stepped on her back, her nervous system isn't working. Doesn't know to send blood, doesn't know how to function properly. So she said, I am cold from the breakdown constantly. To image her and to see that thermal difference between where the break was. These are the changes in her feet. And with the Body Energizer, we imaged her all the way up her back to see her affected by your products all the way up to her neck, and even to see heat moving up the spine where there's no signal going on. And more importantly, around the pressure sore. To see that increase in circulation there, and her sister called me afterwards and said, we don't know if it was that product, but you know what, she's healing. Now this is Ashley. Ashley's got extreme eczema. And here this poor girl is. She was on steroids at 1.5 years. They put creams on her. They did everything they could within industry to address that issue. I want to thank her aunt. Her aunt is out here somewhere that said, you know, go ahead and use this information. They said she looks the way she does because to shower hurts. This is all over her body. To shower hurts. And what I want to show you guys is, this is what you guys did. Can you imagine the impacts you've had on her family? You know, even the consultant that's here, her grandparents were on walkers and canes. On your products, they're not on walkers and canes anymore. Her husband had a shoulder problem. Doesn't have a shoulder problem anymore. They're all in your products. They came to us and asked us about cell phone radiation. Is it affecting people? I had a guy that came to work for me or applied for work for me, and he said, I am a guru for Motorola in doing cell phone research. I said, what have you found out? He said, we can't conclude the impact on people. We're trying to get that information all the time. So what we wanted to do is see the effects and the change in physiology with cell phone radiation. So this young fella here, his parents bought him a cell phone pack because he's got a blood disorder. You think about this too, but they just wanted to make him happy. And here he is. On the left-hand side of the page, you can see this side of his face. On the one side of his face where he's been talking on the phone for an hour. And you can see that he's heated up from here down to here on his neck. You can see on the side of his head the same thing. So this is, you've got a radiating device next to your head. You've got a signal coming to you, being transmitted to you guys. How many people are using a cell phone? How many people headsets? Headsets are critical. Headsets are critical. And you truly want to keep the phone away from you when you're talking, if you can. If you're going to be on the phone for expanded periods of time, keep the phone away from you. And I poke fun at myself that I got a headset earlier than other people, and I'd actually drive with the phone between my legs while I was talking. And you think about, I had a friend of mine say to me that he had a friend that got some very serious health challenges by doing the same thing. So after that, we had this incredible group from Team Diamond came forward and said, a company's got something called a radiation blocker. Do you think it's going to work? And I said, there's lots of radiation blockers on the market, and I'm skeptical, very skeptical. I said, but let's take a look at it and see the effects and see what it does. So if you look on the right-hand side of the page here, you can actually see that's the same boy on the phone for an hour with that radiation blocker in there. And that heat that's more in his cheek here, that's really consistent with the battery heat. So that's actually some heat that you'd expect to see in an area like that. It's still going up his sinus, as you can see there. But the reduction compared to having nothing in his phone is absolutely incredible. So what you guys want to do is, you know what, get a headset. You guys have got team tools out here, and this is what this incredible group of people bring forward to you, is they brought this radiation blocker. They've got them out here. They've got information on this blocker. You guys keep the phone away from you if you can. Use your headsets if you're on there for extended times. So I want you guys to keep up the good work, and thanks for kicking my butt.